Hello, 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 everyone. Good evening. Miss Justice, you're number one, girl. Hey, good evening to you. Much love. Number one. And Don, you're number two. All right. Good evening, PG and chat. Much love. Much love to you, girl. You number two in here tonight. God bless. And Seeking Truth, number three. There we go. Hello, PG mods and chat. Much love. Much love to you, girl. God bless. And number four, Patty. You number four, girl. All right. Hello, PG and all. Prayers. Much love. Hey, girl. God bless. Sending prayers to you as well. God bless. All right. Let's get down through here and see who we got tonight. Hey, D Hicks, how you doing, sweetie? Good to see you. And 1956, how you doing tonight, sweetie? Good to see you. Janet, Angel, Tiger Mom, Kathy, how you guys doing? There's Kimmy, how you doing, sweetie? There you go. I had a girlfriend named Kimmy. She was the cutest. She's the cutest and funniest little thing. I sure did like her. I really did like her. Um, Let me get on down through here. Hey Anna, how you doing? Patty Ponytail, good to see you. All right. Oh, that's beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. Prayers and love for summer. God bless. Um, yeah, I just came in tonight to hang out for a little bit with you guys and to have a little prayer visual for Jack and Lily who have still not been found, right? They have not been found. Um, I did hear that law enforcement is saying that they're still saying again, they have reminded us that there is no signs of an abduction. Where did we hear that before, right? Where have we heard that before? I think we all know Summer Wells case. And so from Ronnie Lawson, right? We heard that from Ronnie Lawson. No signs of an abduction. And we heard Pruitt as well saying, you know, she had wandered off after we did that extra, came back, did that extra deep dive search. We're sure we would have found something. So, you know, you pretty much, understand when law enforcement is talking, and from what they say, you can pretty much understand what they're thinking, right? What they're thinking. And as for Summer's case, Ronnie says no signs of abduction, so they're not thinking it was that. And Pruitt came back and said, as I said, in the wandering off, they feel she would have been found had that been the case as well. And there was nothing to be found. So, you know, in my opinion, that's ruling both out. So, what are they ruling in? And as for Lily and Jack's case, they are pretty much ruling out abduction completely, it sounds like, because they did use the words again. And, kind of like pushing that narrative that they're not thinking abduction at all. And then you have wandering off, which, they have been doing and did a lot of searching. They, after about a week, they started to kind of pull back a little on that because it was just exhausting everyone tremendously. And it cost a lot. It cost a lot to have people out there, searching and doing all of that too. And I'm sure financial plays a part in how much they're able to do. So I wish it didn't. I wish it it shouldn't. It shouldn't play a part in anything, but it does. We know it does. And but they haven't said, they haven't said that anything about the wandering off yet. I guess wandering off is still on the table. Um, you know, possibly still on the table. I don't know. I'm bringing you up, Pam. How you doing, girl?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Um, but yeah, that's what's going on right now. The wandering off is still on the table, but I heard word through the grapevine is that the stepdad has kind of changed up his story. Um, because he said that first he was saying that they did not hear, the sliding glass door. They couldn't hear it. And then he said they did hear a door, right? He said they did hear a door. Then he said they didn't hear a door. And um now he's just like, you know, he don't even know. Like he slept, was asleep and knew nothing of the whole situation. He's also quit talking. He was talking a whole lot there at first, but the mother, the biological mother, she, she took flight. She took flight, and the day one, she left on day one, out of there. So, you know, she took out of there day one, and um, so I don't know. I don't know. I
PG,
mean,
when you listen to their interviews
right?
and you listen to his interview,
Mm-hmm.
he'll say, if you notice what he said in the beginning, I drove around right before the cops were called.
Right.
So he drove around to all these places that he said
Well, I think the
before
reason.
he come before they even called 911.
Oh yeah, but I think he was driving around, um, because they may have thought. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, in my opinion, and this is strictly my opinion, I think Jack and Lily came up missing. Something happened. I believe something happened Monday. Monday between the time they got off the school bus Monday and Tuesday morning. I think something happened during those hours. I think that's why, in my opinion, that's why Lily and Jack wasn't in school Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday, and they were reported, missing on Friday. But
Well,
I, I,
they had a holiday in between there. Some I
they had a holiday on what day?
think it was Wednesday. It was a
And
holiday, and then she
do
had
you, do you know what that holiday was? If they had one,
no.
does anyone know what the holiday was? Because they usually don't celebrate holidays in the middle of the
That's why
week.
they weren't in school that
No,
one day.
okay, hold on. Wednesday. Wednesday was a holiday. I think they would have been, I personally think they would have been in school on Tuesday if something wouldn't have happened.
Now the
That,
bus driver did see her on Monday, or they confirmed she was there on Monday, but they can't confirm him on Monday. And
somebody said,
then
I thought,
during the week, then she has a cough, and if he's having a cough, or she's having the cough, why isn't he going to school? I mean, why keep
Right.
them both out?
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Um, sometimes kids do, you know, kind of get sick together. I mean, like if one child gets it, kind of passes it to the other child, and two of them could be out of school actually together. Um, Especially like if the parent wasn't feeling well first, and sometimes both kids would come down with something around the same time because they were exposed at the same time to the parent. That happens sometimes, but in my opinion, I really think, hey Lisa, I really think that they would have been in school if something hadn't have happened during those hours
And
from Monday to Tuesday morning. And
if you
that's what it
notice
seemed like.
underneath that little boy's chin, right under his chin, is like a real red mark. Like
Oh,
it just happened.
yeah, I seen that. Not a holiday, Pam. It was a teacher's professional development day. No
About
students,
something.
but teachers had work day. Okay. Okay, I
So I mean,
appreciate that.
they say something that's had to, but I mean, even
And
even
hold on, Boo. Do you know what day that was? Do you know what day that was? Was that on
Wednesday.
Wednesday? That was on Wednesday. Okay. Okay, it was on Wednesday. So, I still think they'd have been in school on Tuesday had something not happened. That's my opinion, you know, and just saying, because these kids love to go to school. They wanted to go to school. It sounds like the little girl loved carrying her little backpack everywhere, all the time. And, so she was wanting to always have that backpack with her. Then obviously she really loved school. She looked forward to going to school. And, so him driving, you know, under normal circumstances, him driving around the way he did, I would say, he might have thought that the kids got dressed and tried to go catch the bus by themselves, seeing that the backpack was, missing. They might have, I don't know if most kids catch a bus in areas like that. They get on a bus. I don't know if the bus stops in front of their home or if it stops at a certain destination and the parents have to be there for their kids to get on the bus. I'm not sure. Okay, I appreciate that, Boo. It was Wednesday. Um, so that's what I would think under normal circumstances. And that's kind of like the Sebastian case, because his mother, right? She came out and went for a ride to try to find Sebastian. Am I correct, Pam?
Yeah, she went to the school over by the school, and then but everybody was there when she got back. I mean, there was a lot in that case.
Right.
But see, like over there in the little Lilly and Jack, that building behind the house, I mean,
Right.
right from the sliding door,
Mm-hmm.
that was supposed to be a chicken coop.
Right. And then
So
grandma and the brother lived in the trailer right there.
in
That
the
trailer.
trailer with no roof.
Yeah, right over from where the chicken coop was. Now, don't you have to I'm not a farmer, you guys. I'm not
Why
a
didn't you
farmer.
see chickens?
But, I would assume if you have a chicken coop and you're keeping chickens, don't you have to get up in the morning and go out early to collect the eggs? Is this true?
That's why they have the house. Yeah, if they were the type and old enough to lay the eggs. I mean, it depends. But you would
Hey,
have to get a
Suzanne.
rooster too.
Um, does anybody in here know about, yes, I do every morning. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
you gotta get up.
Karen knows all about, obviously all about farming. So she said, yes, I do every morning. What happens, Karen, if you don't go out to get the eggs? What happens if you don't go early in the morning to collect the eggs? I'm just, I'm curious. I don't farm. But I assume you got to go out there and get, because I know you have to milk a cow early. You got to go out and milk the cow early. After, because it's been there all night, and it needs to be milked early. Um, so if you
Yeah,
got
that
it,
milk can spoil too.
oh really?
And the
Um,
butter, yes.
oh wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. And they
If
will be
you
there
and
later,
it,
but it's best to get them. Oh, okay. She says they will be there later, but it's
they'll
best.
be there later, but I mean, they can harden up and all that, and they wouldn't by a couple of days or so. They wouldn't be any good to eat.
Right.
Basically, I
Okay.
mean. But if you've seen that one place right behind that where
Okay.
that
She said
inn,
I used to collect my eggs anytime a day. Okay, so you can collect the eggs at any time.
yeah,
Oh, we used to have 56 chickens.
ooh,
Okay. The reason I asked about these chickens is because I was wondering if the grandmother, because I would assume that was the grandmother's chicken coop, and she was the one tending to these chickens. So that I would suspect that she would be out there early in the mornings getting, feeding her chickens, getting the eggs. Um, wh- what time do you have to feed chickens? What time? I mean, do you have to feed these chickens early in the morning, or do you feed them anytime you want to during the day? I mean, how do
anytime,
you you
basically.
you feed chickens any time of the day? It doesn't matter. Fresh eggs are the best.
Yeah,
Okay. Oh, okay. You got to feed the chickens in the morning. So we used to feed out in the afternoon.
yeah,
Okay. So sometime between morning and noon, you would have to be out there, um, feeding, collecting eggs and feeding chickens. So you,
yeah.
so
Some of them has feeders.
right. Okay. Tiger Mama says I feed my chickens twice a day. All right. Karen says in the morning, I feed my chickens twice a day. Um,
Did everybody
I
see
fed my,
that little like build, that little thing that was being built behind that? And
I,
it was like a playpen type thing or whatever. You
right,
keep something in it that had a water bottle, and it
right,
looked like there was some zip ties in it.
right.
I mean, that kind
That
of looked strange because why would you keep zip ties in it? Did somebody make it like, okay,
they're probably to hold it together, or maybe because you use, like, if you want to put a bottle to something, you use a zip tie to hold it on to, the fencing or whatever.
no, it wasn't a fencing, it was like a log thing that was built. I got the pictures of it. And it was built behind the fence. I mean, behind the chicken coop, way further back. It was weird. I mean, They had so much trash on that place too that it was like, ugh.
Right?
And for that door not to sound when you open it or close it, the track has to be off. Come on. As old as that trailer looked, and as trashy it looked.
Hold on. Let me take a look here. There's okay, I see there's fencing. There's the mobile home that the brother and the grandmother lives in. And then it's got a fence around it. Their section is fenced off with a gate. Then you got the chicken coop right there. And then there's some kind of um crate. Looks like some kind of wooden crate built right next to the chicken coop. Actually is holding up part of the roof of the chicken coop along with the fence. And then they have it's looks like one of those little gym type sets with the sliding board, that you go for the kids to play in. That's out there. And there's there's a lot of something back behind the chicken coop, but I don't know if that's just debris stuff they were going to, eventually clean up and get out of there, or if it was material that they was going to use to put something more together behind there. I don't know exactly what that is. But is it the thing that looks like a big crate that you're talking about, Pam?
It looks like a bunch of wood just like built up high
Right.
enough. But it
Like
looks like some kind of type playpen or some.
yeah, okay. That's what I'm talking. Yeah, I would think that the zip ties might be kind of hold they might have
No,
used.
it's not. It's not. If you look inside it, I mean, I've
Right.
got the pic of
Could
inside it.
could
You'll see
could
the water bottle.
could they have been raising pigs as well? Could they have had pigs in there?
Who knows?
Does anybody know what that crate might be for that's next to the chicken coop, the chicken house? Is that like a pen to hold the chickens? I would think the chickens could get out of that.
Chickens could get out of
Yeah,
that.
they could
Gotta
get
have.
out because I don't see I don't see no wire around this
Yeah, you gotta
to hold
have.
them in. So there has to be something else. There's got to be something else that was for. I am
Yeah,
not
that's
sure.
what I. That's what I was. I mean, that's what I was saying was
Right,
because it was odd that it would be further on out, and you got all this other stuff, and then you got this little. What was you doing? Trying to build a pig pen or what?
right.
What
It
was you?
might be. It might be. Um, the trailer's not far from that chicken coop. I mean, it's not it there's not really a lot of distance between the trailer and the grandmother's
Mm.
mobile home out there. Um
I heard the
would,
brother had a big long background.
wouldn't you think that wouldn't you think that if the wouldn't you think if the kids were to get out there, don't you think wouldn't they be able to hear the children outside of this thing? I mean,
Yeah, but we
that's what
don't know.
I'm thinking.
We don't know where they were. Nobody has ever mentioned where they were.
And
I
this
mean, you
trailer
would
was
think that
on
the
its last
kids.
leg. Hold on. Somebody said This trailer was on its last leg. It's awful, an awful place to have kids living there. But Mama is in love, so they go anywhere with the new boyfriend to live. Um, Junkyard, like the Wells. Yeah, yeah.
Well, no, it kind of makes
I
the
have to
wells look
agree.
like a mansion on a hilltop, though. Because the wells kind of don't look that bad. It's trashy.
The Wells was pretty bad, Pam. It was
Well, it
pretty.
didn't look that bad. I
I
mean,
mean, it had a
they got
lot.
toys at least. I mean, I got to give them that credit. You don't see any toys on the wells.
Right,
At least
right.
you see
That's true.
toys and
That's true. You,
well
yeah,
over there on now
yeah.
Andy Bernard's.
Well,
They have a bathtub outside.
hold on. Let me take a look here. You're right. You're right because the yard is clean. I can't say. I can't say that the yard isn't clean because this. I mean, it looks like they try to keep it picked up, and even where the grandmother lives. Oh my goodness, that is swept clean. I really think that is plywood outside of that mobile home. I'm I'm thinking it may not be, but it sure looks like it's so clean. It does look like plywood. I mean, but it might not be. It might
What are
not be.
you looking at?
Yeah, if they have pigs, where are the pigs? That's what I'm wondering. That's what I'm wondering because I don't know what that thing is. If you guys lived on a farm, do you know what it is next to the chicken house?
Behind the chicken coop?
Yeah, it's beside it. It's right beside it, helping to hold up the roof of the chicken coop. Um, right. I'm going to tell you, I don't. I wouldn't want to go. I personally wouldn't want to go in either of these places. I mean, I wouldn't want to go to the Wells home, and I wouldn't want to go to this home.
Or Andy Bernard's. I mean, they got a bathtub outside. You can take a bath there.
A lot of people use those old clawfoot bathtubs as planters. They use them as planters
But that
outside their.
didn't look like a planter, Dad.
Yeah, it didn't look like. I think what happened there is they might have gotten. They might a lot of people remove those out of their homes and put in the newer model of
They
bathtubs.
had a double outhouse.
Yeah, it was a triple one. I think that
It's
thing was
like, come
triple.
on, buddy, let's go to the outhouse together.
Oh,
No,
okay.
thank you.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Um, all right. I appreciate that, Tiger Mom.
I ain't going to the bathroom with my boyfriend. Sorry, he can go by himself.
Absolutely right. The
It'll be a
property
one
made
chicken coop, not two.
the property the property made the wells look like a mansion, in my opinion. That is a beautiful piece. Oh, I know what I was wanting to tell you guys. Um, did you know that Jack and Lily, the property they were staying upon, did you know that it is only like 3 hours from Edwards Island? And Edwards Island is beautiful. Absolutely. Like, Edwards Island is a very, very beautiful place. It is absolutely, it's really, really nice. Um, and that's where they filmed Anne of Green Gables. That's where Anne of Green Gables was filmed, was on Edwards Island there. And that's amazing. That's amazing. And they were only like 3 hours away from Edwards Island. I
Did you see PG, did you see where Dolly and PG stayed, or PJ stayed in that
Uh,
axe murderer's house?
uh, no, I didn't see that, Pam. But
Ooh,
you gotta say on Liver's house.
or Unlivers. Well,
House. Yes.
I ain't saying in no house.
No, I wouldn't either. I wouldn't.
The boogeyman's in there. But I'll go to the dollar store.
Did did
But they've never said
are you
on
talking
Jack and
are
Lily.
you are you talking about whose house did they stay in?
That one that um oh, I can't think of the name now. It's the one that unalive people with an axe.
Okay. Um Lizzie
I can't.
Borden? Was it
Yes,
Lizzie Borden's house?
yes,
Oh, they went to Lizzie Borden's home
yes,
and
and they stayed there all night.
spent a night there?
Yes.
You know, a lot of people go there. A lot of people go there and spend the night. Some people say that that they do encounter really weird things in there, and other people say, you know, they encountered nothing. Um, so I don't know, but I have heard that some people are more sensitive to stuff like that than other people are. Um, so that could be, you know, that could be as well, because some people, you know, I believe some people are more sensitive um in seeing things, you know, kind of being able to, you know, enter, you know, I think some people are able to kind of
Look at history.
no, they it's like some people are more sensitive to time warps than other people. What I'm saying is, like, um when people go into places like the Lizzie Borden house, for instance, or, you know, houses that are known to have a lot of activity outside the norm, you know, outside the norm. So there's a, like, some people could go in there and nothing, absolutely nothing. They're like, you know, I don't hear, I don't see, you know, anything. And, you know, it's like, I don't know, it's like they got a, you know, a wall or something, you know, a wall up or something that, you know, where they're not able to, you know, see anything. Or hear anything that's, you know, abnormal. Then you have people that walk in, you know, and like, wow, you know, they're able to see all kinds of stuff, you know, and they're just more sensitive to, you know, the abnormal things that go on in those type of places. Um, oh, did you guys hear about have you guys read or seen or heard of the Andy Griffin house that's in I believe it's in Carolina or Georgia? Maybe it's Georgia. I think it's Georgia. It's the Andy Griffin home. They was a couple. They was a couple that actually bought that house. I was reading up on it, and there was a couple that actually bought Andy Griffin's home. Put a one in the chat if you've heard of it or read about it or anything, because I was actually um, uh, listening to um, some of that, and then I went researching, and I guess it's true. But because I don't believe everything I hear. I want to research and read on my own. But I did research it, and to my understandings, the house that he lives, was living in. It was like a getaway home. It was where he went to get away from everything, um, going on, with his acting and everything. His quiet place. It was his quiet place, his sanctuary. And I guess he would go there all the time. And there was one particular room that he stayed in all the time. I guess a lot. He stayed in there. And they said that, like the door was totally locked. You couldn't get in. You could not get into this room. And the new people that took it over bought it, moved into it. They didn't even know it was his home, but they found out real quick after they bought it that it was. And this one room couldn't, nobody could get it open. And then just like in the middle of the night, the door just opens on its own, just opens. And the new owners, they go in and look, and it's like wall to wall pictures of Andy Griffin and all of his, different scenes of Andy Griffin and other movies he played in and stuff like that. And anyhow, they said you could hear him whistling, that you could hear the whistling of the Andy Griffin tune downstairs. You could hear it upstairs in the hallway. You could hear someone walking inside this place, and doors would open on their own, especially that particular one door would open on its own. And yeah, and they actually, moved. They didn't sell it, but they moved from it. And anyhow, uh the husband left, supposedly, left and took off, and first, but the wife didn't want to leave. She wanted to stay behind and sell some of the antique stuff that was left in the attic, and some of the things, and she said she found herself, actually talking to whatever was in this house. She would find
Ugh.
herself talking to it. Yeah, it was really strange. But anyway, they got away from there. They didn't, sell it, but they haven't really ever returned there as well, to my understandings. And
I
I
ran
don't know.
across PG. I ran across this channel. I don't know where it went across my TV for some reason, and this little boy went missing for 5 years old. He had
Oh,
been
I
missing
I
till
agree,
he was
Janet.
8, or he was like he'd been missing for like 8 years, and come to find out, he was across the street underneath the doghouse in a bunker of this man's house.
Oh wow, was he still living?
Yeah, he was like underweight and stuff, but he
Oh wow.
didn't even. This guy had lost his kid and his wife, and I guess he grabbed this kid and told him that you got to stay down here because there's all wars up in here. You got to stay down here. And he
Right.
kept him down there for the longest time. And the boy's parents was inviting the old guy over for dinner. Well, he was going to take him because he was building a bigger doghouse. And he was like, and it was like he was supposed to go out with him and get a dog. And
Right?
then all of a sudden, he went out by himself. He left his jacket over there. And when the guy went over there, he finally seen the floor of the doghouse up and seen the ladders go down.
Right?
And it gave him a weird feeling. And he went back, and all of a sudden, they end up finding this kid in this bunker
Oh, wow. Thank
underneath the
God.
doghouse.
Right?
And he didn't even know his mom and dad. This guy told him his mom was unalived, and his dad, he says, he come up and he says, "Are you my dad?" Oh, they knew it was him. He had the brightest red hair.
Oh,
Oh,
wow. I
but he,
know. No, they haven't found Lily and Jack. No,
no.
he has not been found and she has not been found. Um, I
Are
would
they
say
taking water?
so they found this little boy down in there and they brought him out of there. And um how long had that man had him in there, Pam?
He'd been missing since he was 5, and he'd been found. It was like he was.
Was he 8, 9, 10?
It was like 8 years he was missing,
Oh, wow.
and he was in that bunker the
So
whole time.
he was like 14, 15 years old when they found him?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
he was underweight, but I mean, he kept food down there, kept heat down there, everything down there like a bunker.
Right. Wow.
Makes you wonder with the whales underground
Well,
cellar.
they was a guy that did that. He had abducted a young girl and from her family, and he had put her out in the middle of a field like that. He had actually dug out, like, he had dug out this bunker type thing underground, and it was way out in the middle of a field, and it had wood over top of it like that, a wooden door. And he had gotten this little girl and had put her down in there. And he was keeping her for a long time. And I they don't even know why. They don't know why he let her out, but he did. He finally let her go. And when she got out, she really took off a running too. I mean, she didn't even look back. She was running. And and then she was able to, tell law enforcement, pretty much, where it was. And they went out looking for it. I mean, she didn't know exactly where, but the general area that she had ran from, she knew. And they went in there looking and they found it. Yeah, it was out there. And he had, boy, that takes a lot of time. These people,
Well,
these
that's like,
people that do things like this, they will really put some time and effort into, doing what they do, right?
yeah, I'll find that article and I'll send it to you, and that's the channel. There's several different ones on there.
Right.
Oh, they were just, oh, some
Yeah.
of them are the saddest ones whatsoever, but this was sad. He come up and the first thing he said was, "Are you my dad?"
Was it his dad?
He was sitting there. He just had to let the little boy think of all of it himself. And they took him to the hospital, and finally his mom and they both went in there, and he had to go through a lot of getting back and knowing who they were.
Right.
I mean, it was horrible. Well, it's like at Jamie Claus when
Right.
that guy took her from the bus stop and she was gone for 88 days.
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean,
That was sad. That was a sad case.
I mean, these kids are people that go missing. We want justice for all of them.
Right.
But
Absolutely.
if we had more help from law enforcement,
Well, justice is really hard to get to know, even if law enforcement, first they suspect and
mhm.
they do their homework and they do everything that needs to be done. And I'm going to tell you, you know, law enforcement is very, very intelligent. The
Oh yeah,
feds, the feds, they're brilliant. But the thing is, the thing is, it's even if they pretty much know exactly what happened, to prove it, Pam, is really super hard. It's one thing to know something, it's another thing to be able to prove it. A lot of times, law enforcement's hands are tied because they can't, they know they just can't prove. They haven't
well
got enough to, they haven't got enough to, build that solid case upon, solid enough. It's when you go into the court, you only get one chance
oh yeah, you
at
get one chance or
prosecuting. And if you do not have enough solid evidence, well, you know, it- you're done. You're done. I mean, it's a one and done, and that's why they'll keep a missing child's case open for years to solve it, because you know they want to get everything they can and get that case. They need, like Summer's case right now. Um, they got quite a bit. They just need that one little piece, that one little piece that'll throw it over the edge in order to be prosecuted. Um, and they might get it. They might get it because it's been 5 years. A lot of people are actually, more people are talking now than ever talked before. As time goes by, you know, people start, you know, their people's jaws start to get loose. And it's just that one slip. It's just that one slip that law enforcement needs in order to completely solve a case. And I
yeah,
think
it's like that Flip Farmer, that Karina Kirkland out of Kokomo
right.
here in Indiana. They just took that Flip Farmer to trial and they charged him with first degree, or no, I think one was second degree and or first degree and second degree or something like that, and they found him not guilty. So
And
they
it
won't be able
says,
to try him again,
right,
even
exactly,
though they don't have the body.
right. And that's the problem. That's the problem.
You
See,
need to get him on the small charges and then add the ones later on.
and
What
that
you
that
can
would
get them
be,
on, like with Candace and Dawn, get them on the small charges.
well, that's why law enforcement, you know, got Don for the DUI and so forth and so on. A lot of times they think that if they get you on something small and they get you in there and they get you locked up, that is a possibility that you will, either talk to law enforcement about, other stuff, or that or that you will talk to an inmate, which will at that time, you know, relay it to law enforcement. A lot of times, what they'll do is law enforcement. Sometimes, what they'll do is they will, put you with an inmate that actually, um, is a singer for them. What I'm saying is this inmate, law enforcement has used this inmate many times to get information, from other prisoners coming in that they needed information from. So what they'll do is they'll put this, these. So that's why when a lot of people go into, you know, they're in locked up, they really they really won't talk or befriend the inmates around there, because there's a lot of them, these inmates collecting information to get anything they can to help their case. Because if you get some good information that'll help law enforcement with another case, it can actually help your case. What I'm saying is you can use it as a bargaining chip to help yourself get out earlier, or maybe get an um be able to come up for parole
Look
a
at
little
Harmony
sooner, things
Montgomery.
like that.
Kayla got to walk because she blamed it all on him. But she took that baby in that stroller in the bag and took
Right,
him to his work
right. That's
and
true.
dropped her off. And then he does something with she don't know where, and all she gets is these little,
And
collective
she was
fraud charges.
right, and she is also a participant. She was a participant when when they was in that bathroom and doing the bad things that they were doing in there. Really some gruesome stuff. She was a participant in all of this. And I
And
agree
she,
with you. She probably should have gotten some time as well, but the reason she didn't is because she turned evidence against
the
him.
first one that talks is usually going to be the first one that walks.
That's right. Exactly. If you talk, you walk. They will give you immunity. You can, sometimes they won't, sometimes they won't give you immunity. Um, but a lot of times they will. Sometimes they lessen your sentencing or something like that. But they're pretty front. If you go in there and with your lawyer and they make an agreement with you, an agreement to give you immunity if you give up all the evidence, and um offer to, witness against the other person, um, then they have to do that. They have to do that. And they know that they have to do it if that's the agreement made. Also, a lot of times, though, they won't. They'll say, you'll get a lot less sentencing if sometimes they're not willing to work that good. But most of the time they are. If you like, for instance, you know, I don't think it would have did. I don't think, if say per se, you know, if one person would have turned on the other person, um, and and it was premeditated. For instance, it was all premeditated, carried out. Um, you're probably not. You're probably not going to end up with immunity. You know, it's cases like that they usually don't want to. You know, they don't want to go that far with you, because it was all premeditated. And that's not,
Well, that's
I don't think
like
you're going to get immunity and all of that.
in the Lori Vallows Daybell. The worst thing she did was getting rid of Alex. She could have blamed it all on Alex. But she got rid
Well,
of Alex. Now she has to take all the blame.
I'm going to tell you something. The
Well,
Lori,
she did
the
a nut
Lori,
job.
the Lori Bello case was like that was really, really, a strange case right there. I still cannot understand, how they got away with so much before finally getting, you know, caught and arrested and everything.
And
I,
she's
I
got
don't even know. I don't even
she
know.
got found guilty of Charles murder or unaliving. And then now she's got to do. There's one more court hearing, and that's the Brandon Bedreau, and that's he wasn't unalived, but he was shot at.
Right,
So as soon as she goes through this one now, and they put off the sentencing because they're going to sentence her for both of the cases in Arizona.
right. Well, I don't. Here's my thing with her. I don't even know why she bothers to even show up at any more trials or anything, because I mean she's already going to do life in prison anyway. What does it matter? What does it matter if she shows up anywhere else? It doesn't matter. I mean, I you know,
It's like I was reading another case. It was at Bert, the Swan Boat Club was having a birthday party,
right?
and this 67-year-old lady gets in her SUV, runs it through a wall,
Whoa,
and
which what
kills two people. I mean, unalives two people.
right,
And she just got sentenced to 25 to 50 years, but added up 67 to 25. I mean, and
right,
that's only to get parole. That don't mean they always get it.
right.
I
I
mean,
don't
it
know.
was just she wiped out two kids at that, and her others at that birthday party. I just
Was was her, like, did she have a medical issue that where something dropped low, or you know, I mean
no, she
something.
was intoxicated.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a little too old. That's a little too old to be doing stuff like that, right? Whoa. Some people don't ever learn. Right? Some people don't ever learn, right? I don't know. Wow,
Drugs and alcohol get
67.
you nowhere.
No, it doesn't. No, I'm gonna tell you, it doesn't. You know,
I mean,
it don't pay to have any type of habits, that's for sure. That is for sure.
the only
All
habit
right.
I got is Pepsi's.
Right?
That's it.
Well, that's, that's what's going on. That's what's going on in, um, I came in to talk a little bit about Jack and Lily's case, to let you guys know, that the law enforcement came out, said, again, and they did use the word again, no signs of abduction. And
They're looking
also,
for foul play.
something, well, because the stepdad changed his story like three times. Like three times, first, the sliding glass door didn't, make noise, and that's the way they supposedly got out.
Look at that
Then,
house.
then they supposed to hurt. Then he said something about the door, the back door slamming. and they did hear it, and like then all of a sudden they heard nothing. The story kept changing, and that's the problem. See,
And then the little
the
girl
truth doesn't change.
peeped in their room.
Yeah, and that, well, the mother, according to the mother took off day one with her mom, and pretty much, her and her family is saying, they've been advised not to speak or talk with anyone at all, and and they're really keeping quiet about everything. um
Now,
the
does she still have the baby Willow, or does CPS have it? Does anybody know?
I heard, i I don't know for sure, but I heard that CPS took the baby. I heard the baby is in CPS's custody now. That's
Because the
what
father
I'm
went to
hearing.
CPS to try to see the kid, and they told him no.
Little PG girl, I sent you a friend request. Hey girl, I'll definitely check, and if I received it, I would definitely add you.
But yeah, I think they're looking at more of a foul play, because they don't. Well, think of them wooded areas. Them little kids aren't getting too far away.
I just realized she's talking to my child here in chat, going under PG's little girl. Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought you was talking to me, Janet. I was like, I can't remember having a friend request, but I'm going to check it. Right?
But I mean, and they were both in there feeding Meadow. Did it take two to feed the kid? Oh, but she was in and out of sleep. I forgot.
That's what she said. She said that, that they was going in and out of sleep, and what the mother, at first, the mother said that she heard the kids out in the other room. Then she said she also heard them outside playing. And then she came back and said, when she was talking the second time, I believe it was, she told the news, a lady, that they did hear the kids in the house playing in another room, and that they found out later that they were playing outside. Now, I know at the beginning she said that she heard them inside the house, and then she heard them outside the house. And, and then it got quiet, and they went to look, and the kids weren't there. But then, she changed it right there, at the end, she changed it up and was like, they were outside, but we found that out later. So I don't know exactly what that meant. I don't know if the grandmother or the brother said they had seen the kids outside that morning, um, while they were maybe getting the chicken eggs. I have no idea. I have no idea. You know,
Well, she sounded so much like, and I hate to say this, that girl, the mother sounded so much like Liani Simon.
yeah, I have to
And
agree
it
with
was
you.
always about theirself. It wasn't about the kids. If you listen to them talk, they were talking about, oh, what I want, what I want.
And she said you already did. This was to your little girl.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's not about you. It's about the kids that's missing, dude. It's not about if you, like he talked, like, oh, well, I want all these people to stop blaming me. Dude, they're going to blame you. You were the last one
Yeah,
with their
anytime,
kids.
exactly. Anytime that you are the last one to see, to see the missing children, if a child comes up missing and you were the last one with it, of course, they're going to, suspect you, and they're going to question you, and they're going to, they're going to put you through lie detectors tests and all the things, you know, um, because they need to do that. And if you're innocent, you won't mind them doing all of that because you've done nothing, and you know that this child needs to be found, and you're going to do everything you can to cooperate in order to get that done. You want the baby found. You want to do all you can to help the child be found. So of course you're going to cooperate to the fullest. Usually if you're not cooperating to the fullest, it's because you've got something to hide, and and that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing,
How much
and probably law enforcement's suspicion is right.
does
There's
anybody know what the population was in that town alone? Just where they
um
lived?
actually that is native territory. That is native territory around there, where they are located. So, I'm not sure what the population is, but I know that it's native territory around there. I know that Edwards Island is like 3 hours away from that particular place. Um, so that's some pretty beautiful land there. That's some beautiful country there.
Yeah, but I don't see
You
two little kids
Absolutely.
running 3 hours. That might be 3 hours by car, but I don't see them walking that. I don't even see them walking 5 miles, to be honest with you.
um, I
Yeah, they
didn't.
would have to hold their hand each other because look at that.
Right, those were some beautiful children, absolutely adorable. Why did the stepdad say they were dressed in the same clothes they wore to school that last day? I didn't hear him say that. I don't know I don't know why he said it, if he said it. But the mother, from what I understand, the mother said that, Lily had peeked in the room, and she was definitely wearing a pink sweater top. And I guess they knew what the little boy was wearing by what was missing in his clothing. Um, Supposedly a brown shirt, brown pants, and his little boots, blue
I
boots.
think it was what he was wearing when he went to bed because he had
Um,
a wet diaper or wet pull
I,
up.
I think, I don't know. I personally really believe, and like I said, it's my opinion, but I believe that the reason they weren't in school Tuesday is because something happened from the time they got off the bus on Monday to between that time frame, Monday after school to the next morning when they supposed to be to school. Something I believe happened in that time frame.
Didn't they? Didn't they find substance in the car and the house?
That you know what? That's what people are saying. That's what people are saying, that they did
I would love
find.
to see the inside of that house, to be honest with you.
There was some pictures of the inside of that house. They had a birthday party, and then there's some pictures Christmas where the carpet's missing and stuff. Um, you know what? I showed that. Those pictures on I think my last live. So if you want to go back and take a look, Pam, you can see them.
Oh,
Um, yeah.
because
Okay.
look at Candace's house, and
Right.
what little, and like Summer. Who's gonna go down in a dark basement from a little square?
I'm going to tell you,
Didn't have no stairs to begin with.
I don't believe Summer ever went into the basement.
I
That's
don't either.
my opinion. That's my opinion. And I think law enforcement, kind of thinks that as well. As they
Yeah,
said,
she
they
don't
don't
go
believe it
missing
was,
in 2 minutes.
right, they don't believe it was any abduction. And they said, when the lady asked, do you want, creators to ask the Wells any questions? He said, ask why. Asked them to ask why. They waited 4 whole hours to call law enforcement. That would put Summer back on the milk jug. So, that tells me that law enforcement, didn't they felt that she was
What was the
at that
time?
point already unalived. I mean, that's my opinion that she was, but I think law enforcement, if Ronnie truly told this lady for us to ask him that, then that means Ronnie truly believes that Summer wasn't with us at that
Was
point.
there a time gap between law enforcement and their kids? What was the time gap between that? Does anybody have any idea?
Are you talking about Lily and Jack or
Yeah,
Summer? Lily
Lily
and
and
Jack.
Jack.
Law enforcement has no idea how long Lily and Jack had been missing because
Yeah,
they lived in that real rural area, and the kids hadn't been, seen by no one since they had went to school on Monday. So they have no idea of the time gap at all. They only know what they're being told by the parents. That's all they know.
Don
Um,
Wells
I,
wrote a
I'm gonna
book
get off.
called
I'm gonna head
How
out
to.
of here, Pam. Um, I didn't want to stay in very long. I just came
Somebody
in.
said Don Wells wrote a book called How to Have Your Child Get Gone for
I don't,
Dummies.
right. All right, you guys.
All right.
Um, I just came in to have, to talk about Jack and Lily's case a little bit, um, and to have a little prayer visual for 'em as we go out of here tonight. As I always ask, please, please, please keep those prayers going up for Summer Moon, Utah Wells. Keep the prayers going up for this little girl still
Prayer for
missing,
all the
needs
little
to be
kids.
found, and justice still needs to be served against whoever did such an evil thing to a little child. Children just don't come up missing. They got to be somewhere. Let us pray that God lets us find this little girl and bring her home.
And little
And
boy.
and we're talking about Summer.
Oh,
And let's send the prayers up for Jack and Lily as well as we go out of here tonight. Pray for these two children. They also are still missing. They also need to be found, brought home. And if there was something not right about this case, then they will need to have justice as well against the people who could do such bad things to little children. So let us keep the prayers going up for these children as we go out of here tonight. I'm going to say good night. God bless and much
good
love.
night, all.
Hey, Pam, I appreciate you coming up, hanging out with me, girl. I
Good
really
night, Carrie,
appreciate it.
all. Oh, pray for
Absolutely.
Lisa Thompson. They're out of the hospital. Put a little prayer in for her. They're out of the hospital, but they have to go to dialysis.
Yeah,
So
she said
put a
that.
prayer in there for them.
She said that they will be going to their medical appointments and in between resting, but all went good, and they were actually thanking God. So yes, let's keep them in our prayers. And also Christina 5555. Um, Me and Pam was talking earlier today, and Pam reminded me that Christina, is going through a lot, and let's keep the prayers going up for her as well. In the name of Jesus, yes, Amen.
Amen.
All right, you everybody. Good night. Much love. God bless.